You must gather your party before venturing forth.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Patch 4. Today we're going to go over the new Druid class in detail, and we'll be going over leveling up first, and then move on to all of the spells and abilities. After making your character nice and pretty, head on over and select the Druid class. The description we get is that Druids channel the elemental forces of nature and share a deep kinship with animals. Mastery of Wild Shape allows them to transform into beasts from all over the realms. Starting things off, we will be able to pick 2 out of 6 available cantrips, 3 of which are brand new with Patch 4, Produce Flame, Shillelagh, and Thorn Whip. If you're worried about not being able to have all 3 of the new cantrips, don't worry, both subclasses will give you the opportunity to pick a 3rd one later. Next we have our new starting spells. A number of these have already been in the game for quite some time now, but the new ones to look for are Create or Destroy Water, Entangle, and Goodberry. And on our long list of proficiencies for the Druid class, we have Saving Throw proficiency in Wisdom and Intelligence, along with Light and Medium Armor, Shield, Club, Dagger, Darts, Javelin, Maces, Staves, Scimitar, Sickles, Slings, and Spears. And last for creating your character, your ability points are going to want to be focused on Wisdom. This will be the primary stat for the Druid class. Of course, you'll want to tweak your other ability scores based on your needs, but one thing to remember is that Wild Shape transformations will change your Strength, Dexterity, and Constitution to match the animal you are turning into. Your Intelligence, Wisdom, and Charisma won't be affected. When reaching level 2, this is where you're going to be able to choose your subclass and gain the ability to transform using Wild Shape. Circle of the Land will be spell focused, and Circle of the Moon will be transformation focused. Both subclasses get the basic set of animal forms: the Badger, Spider, Wolf, and Cat. The Circle of the Land gains the ability Natural Recovery, which allows you to recover your spell slots once per day. You will also be able to choose a 3rd cantrip to use. If you were bummed about having to make a choice between Thorn Whip, Shillelagh, and Produce Flame, this is your chance to get all 3 early on. If you choose Circle of the Moon, the difference here is that you will gain an additional animal form as a bear, and the ability to self-heal using Lunar Mend. One final difference between the 2 subclasses is how Wild Shape is handled. Transforming as a Land Druid will cost a regular action, and transforming as a Moon Druid will cost a bonus action. When you reach level 3, 12 new spells will be available to both subclasses, and many of which are brand new to the game. The spells available at level 3 are Bark Skin, Dark Vision, Enhance Ability, Flame Blade, Flaming Sphere, Heat Metal, Hold Person, Lesser Restoration, Moonbeam, Pass Without a Trace, Protection from Poison, and Spike Growth. Circle of the Land will be able to choose what land they're tied to, each choice providing additional spells to use. If the additional spell of your chosen land is already provided by the level up, such as Spike Growth or Bark Skin, it just means that those spells will always be prepared for you, and will free up a slot to be used on a different spell. Here's what it'll look like for you in regards to Spike Growth. Your spell book will look something like this, while in game you will see one is not prepared and the other is always prepared. Circle of the Moon won't be getting anything extra at this level outside of the 12 spells mentioned before. And finally, at level 4, both subclasses will gain additional spell slots, the Deep Froth transformation, 1 more cantrip, and, of course, the usual feat and ability score changes. The only difference between the 2 subclasses at level 4 is that the Circle of the Moon also gains the Dire Raven transformation. Now let's go over the new spells and abilities. Shillelagh makes your staff or club count as a magical weapon and can deal 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier as bludgeoning damage. Thorn Whip has a 9-meter range and can drag your target 3 meters closer to you while dealing 1d6 piercing damage. A small indicator will show you where your target will be moved to. Produce Flame conjures a small flame in your hand that can be used for light up to 3 meters and can be extinguished or thrown for 1d8 fire damage. Good Berry creates 4 magical berries that heal 1d4 HP upon consumption. You can target yourself or an ally when creating them. Your berries, however, will disappear after a long rest. Create or destroy water. Creating rain is something we've already seen, but this spell also gives you the option to evaporate a source of water. And no, you cannot use it as an offensive spell. Entangle creates an area of difficult terrain that has a chance of entangling anyone standing within it. Entangled creatures can't move, but an ally can use its help option to attempt to free you. The area created by Entangle is flammable and also overrides existing ground effects when cast. Spike Growth also creates an area of difficult terrain, but any creature walking on it takes 1d4 piercing damage every 1.5 meters they move. Concentration by the caster is required for both of these spells. Protection from Poison cures all poisons affecting the target, grants them advantage on saving throws against being poisoned, and also grants resistance to poison damage. Moonbeam can deal 2d10 radiant damage to any creature that enters the beam or starts its turn in it. Concentration by the caster is required and can use an action to move the beam up to 18 meters. Victims can take half damage on successful saving throws. Heat Metal causes a metal weapon you can see to deal 2d8 fire damage to the person holding it, and they will also receive disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks until the start of the caster's next turn. Concentration is required, and you can choose to use a bonus action to repeat the damage and effects for another turn. Flaming Sphere lets you summon and control a giant flaming sphere that can ram a target for 2d6 fire damage, deals an aura of 2d6 fire damage to nearby enemies and objects, and it can also shed bright light within 6 meters and dim light for an additional 6 meters. Victims can take half damage on successful saving throws, and the sphere is immune to damage. Concentration is required by the caster. It can also be moved by abilities such as Thunder Wave and Shove. The Enhance ability allows you to place one of 6 magical enhancements on an ally. Ally's Wisdom for advantage on wisdom checks, Fox's Cunning for intelligence checks, Eagle's Splendor for charisma checks, Cat's Grace for dexterity checks and half damage from falling, Both Strength for strength checks and doubled carrying capacity, and Bear's Endurance for constitution checks and gaining 7 temporary hit points. Concentration is required by the caster. Barkskin raises the armor class of a willing creature to 16. And last for the new spells, Flame Blade allows you to conjure a flaming scimitar that can deal 3d6 fire damage and can shed bright light within 3 meters and dim light for an additional 6 meters. The weapon can be unequipped and re-equipped, but can't be given away. Concentration is required by the caster. And now for wild shapes. There are up to 8 possible forms the Druid class can use, but only the Bear and Dire Raven can be used by the Circle of the Moon, and the Intellect Devourer can only be used after unlocking your Lithid powers. Depending on the form you take, your strength, dexterity, and constitution will change, while your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma will not. When dropping to 0 HP, you will revert back to your normal form with the original HP, while any overkill damage after reverting back will be carried over. Spells requiring concentration are not broken when shapeshifting, and any equipment worn will not benefit you while you are in animal form. Each transformation costs 1 wild shape charge and either a regular action if you've chosen Circle of the Land, or a bonus action if you've chosen Circle of the Moon. To start this portion off, Lunar Mend will allow you to spend a bonus action and a spell slot to heal yourself. Using a level 1 spell slot will heal you for 1d8 HP, and a level 2 spell slot will allow you to heal for 2d8 HP. For demonstration purposes, keep in mind that only Circle of the Moon Druids will have Lunar Mend. The Spider form comes with 20 HP and can cast Web. It's immune to Web and won't be attacked by fellow spiders. Its primary attack ability is Venomous Bite that deals 1d8 piercing damage with a chance to poison. Poisoned enemies suffer disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. The Dire Raven comes with 13 HP and can rend vision, inflicting 1d6 piercing damage and blinding its target. Its primary attack ability is Beak Attack, dealing 2d4 piercing damage. Its jump ability is replaced by Flight and can go up to 18 meters. Direwolf comes with 18 HP and has 2 additional abilities. Inciting Howl that allows allies within earshot to move an additional 3 meters during the next turn, and Exposing Bite that can deal 1d4 piercing damage, distract its target, and allow the next attack on that same target to become a critical hit. The additional attack must be from within 1.5 meters. Its primary attack ability is Bite, dealing 2d6 piercing damage. The Badger comes with 13 HP and has 2 additional abilities. Burrow, which allows you to appear at a targeted position, possibly knocking nearby creatures prone, and Claws, which deals 1d4 slashing damage and has a chance to push the target back 1.5 meters. Its primary attack is Bite, dealing 2d4 piercing damage. The Bear comes with 30 HP and can use Goading Roar, making nearby enemies attack you. Each turn they have a chance to break free from the goad. Its primary attack is Claws, dealing 2d4 slashing damage. The Cat comes with 2 HP and can meow to gain the attention of nearby creatures. Its primary attack is Claws that deal 1 damage. The Cat can be good at avoiding attention. The Deep Roth comes with 23 HP and 2 additional abilities. Charge that hits all hostile creatures in your path for 1d6 damage and has a chance to knock them prone, and can cast Dancing Lights that illuminate an area for 12 meters. Its primary attack is Gore that impales a target for 3d4 piercing damage. And last but not least, the Intellect Devourer. The tooltip says you magically assume the shape of an Intellect Devourer that can deal psychic damage. Your HP will be at 21. This lifted ability still consumes a wild-shaped charge and a regular action. Your chosen circle has no differences with this form. You have 3 different attack abilities, each one only consuming a regular action, so you have the freedom to use them as you see fit. First, your primary attack is Claws, dealing 2d4 slashing damage. Next is Synaptic Discharge. You deal 1d6 plus 2 psychic damage up to 18 meters away. And lastly, you have Devour Intellect. If your target has an intelligence score below 4, it'll take 2d10 psychic damage and be stunned. If not, its intelligence will be reduced by 11 points, but the target's intelligence can only be reduced once. One thing to note here is that your player condition that usually says Wild Shape followed by the animal name has changed to just Aberrant Shape. This makes me wonder, down the line are we going to have other illithid forms we can shapeshift into? And there you have it, everyone. To the best of my ability, that is the new Druid class in its entirety. Overall, I am loving this new class. It seems genuinely strong, and I am just absolutely in love with this green little brain puppy. Let me know down below what you guys thought about everything, and if you liked this video, please be sure to like and sub to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Until next time, I hope you all enjoyed it. Stay safe out there.